Hello my dear students. In the last class we have already discussed about 6 principles of green chemistry. These are waste prevention instead of remediation, atom economy, minimization of the use and production of hazardous and toxic chemicals, designing safer products, use of safer auxiliaries and design for energy efficiency. Today, we will discuss about 3 other principles of green chemistry. These are use of renewable feedstocks, use of shorter synthetic routes, and use of catalytic reagents. Use of renewable feedstock is the 7th principle of green chemistry. We know fossil resources are not going to be available indefinitely. This is why we have to become less dependent on them for chemical synthesis in the long term. So we have to significantly reduce the consumption of fossil resources in order to possible with the existing stocks. So it is always preferable to design chemical synthesis in such a manner that the raw materials used are renewable rather than depleting whenever technically and economically practicable. For example, methane obtained in the form of biogas from the excreta of animals and carbon dioxide generated from natural sources or processes like fermentation are typical examples for what can be considered as renewable raw materials for synthesis. Combustion of methane can yield acetylene, which can then be converted into a number of important organic compounds. This is another example for the use of renewable feedstocks. Normally, residual plant biomass considered as waste. The huge amounts of residual plant biomass produced during ethanol production can potentially be converted into various different value-added products, including biofuels, chemicals, cheap energy sources for fermentation, improved animal feeds, and human nutrients. Similarly, biodiesel production is a completely renewable resource. Biodiesel product is made from soya and canola, which are self-sustaining fuels. Biodiesel is a substitute for fuels that produce a lot of environmental pollution. Use of shorter synthetic routes is the 8th principle of green chemistry. It is very common practice in organic synthesis to protect or block a group through derivatization. For example, direct nitration of aniline by concentrated nitric acid is not possible because aniline yields tarry oxidation products. Hence, the amino group is first protected by acetylation and the acetanilide thus obtained is treated with a nitrating mixture at low temperature to get a mixture of ortho and para-nitroacetanilide. The mixture on acetic hydrolysis yields a mixture of ortho and para-nitroanilines. Here we have to convert aniline into nitroaniline. By the step of acetylation, we have used a lot of reagents. So according to green chemistry, it was not a green synthesis. Such initial protection of a group and final deprotection of the same group require additional reagents as well as generate waste. So, such synthesis through initial derivatization should be avoided whenever possible. For example, acetylation of the para-aminophenol solely at the NH2 group without affecting the OH group is possible by using acetic anhydride if carried out at pH 5. The 9th principle of green chemistry is the use of catalytic reagents. Some of the major advances in chemistry over past few decades have been in the area of catalysis. Through the use of catalysts, chemists have found ways of avoiding the need of large quantities of reagents that would otherwise have been needed for transformations and would eventually have contributed to the waste stream. A catalyst increases not only the percent yield but also percent atom economy. Since a catalyst lowers the activation energy for a reaction, it reduces the energy requirements. Further, a catalyst may decrease the need for separations due to increased selectivity, and such reactions may allow the use of renewable feedstocks. For these reasons, catalytic reagents are superior to stoichiometric reagents. The area of catalysis is sometimes referred to as the foundational pillar of green chemistry. Now, let us consider a simple example which illustrates how a process is greener with respect to a stoichiometric process. We know atom economy is equal to relative molecular mass of desired products divided by relative molecular mass of all products into 100. Consider the oxidation of 2-phenylethanol to acetophenone by the stoichiometric pathway using a chemical oxidant, as well as the catalytic pathway using air. Firstly, in the stoichiometric pathway, 2-phenylethanol react with chromium oxide in the presence of sulfuric acid, and to give acetophenone, here the percent atom economy is equal to 42. In the case of catalytic pathway, 2-phenylethanol converted into acetophenone in the presence of copper salt. Here the percent atom economy is equal to 87%. Moreover, the byproduct formed is water. So, the catalytic pathway is greener when considered against the stoichiometric pathway. We have already discussed about nanocatalyst in the chapter nanochemistry. We know recently the use of nanoparticulate material in catalysis has attracted considerable attention because of their improved efficiency under mild and environmentally benign conditions in the context of green chemistry. For example, palladium nanoparticle, silver nanoparticle, and various other silica-based nanoparticles have been found to be very efficient green nanocatalysts in various organic synthesis. Biocatalysis using enzymes as catalyst is an emerging field of green synthesis. For example, cytochrome P450 are universally distributed enzymes which were discovered about 50 years ago and which possess high complexity as well as display a broad field of catalytic activity. Cytochrome P450 enzyme family is involved in the biotransformation of drugs and biosynthesis of physiologically important compounds such as steroids, fatty acids, fat-soluble vitamins, and bile acids. They are also very versatile in carbon hydroxylation, heteroatom oxygenation, dealkylation, epoxidation, aromatic hydroxylation, reduction, and dehalogenation. Lower energy requirements, that is ambient temperature and pressure are sufficient, lower carbon dioxide emission, absence of toxic waste like solvents, moreover aqueous medium is sufficient, and metal catalyst, faster rate, stereospecific conversions, simpler purification schemes, renewable feedstock, etc. are some of the advantages of biocatalyst. Today we have discussed about three principles of green chemistry. These are use of renewable feedstocks, use of shorter synthetic routes, and use of catalytic reagents. In the next class, we will discuss about three other principles of green chemistry. These are design for degradation into non-persistent products in the environment, development of real-time analysis for pollution prevention, and inherently safer chemistry for accident prevention. Thank you.